I don't know why.
Dude,
But
Guess.
all right, you
Guess
guys
how
all
many
gotta hit.
pages? Or
Everybody got it, so you don't get kicked out.
guess how many pages my World Cup notes are?
3.
14.
Oh my
Damn.
god.
It's a lot of
Rishi,
copy
I have
and
a
paste.
Rishi, I have a spreadsheet.
Okay. You are becoming
It's-
an analytics guy.
First-
Analytics.
If I may say a shout out to my Yorba Linda Mustangs semifinals tonight against Corona Del Mar, which is pretty huge. That's like one of the high schools that everybody knows usually where that is. It's the rich against the rich.
Oh,
It's the Maserati versus the Maserati.
Is this Cali?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Corona Del Mar has about 3,000 to 4,000 kids. We have 1,800. Let's go. And we're still in Division 3. So
Bro. It's a big school.
yeah.
All right, we're ready to go. Everyone ready to go?
Yes, sir.
All righty. Well, welcome back to SMC Around the Board. We are on episode 11, guys. We made it past that good old decade, or not decade, but 10 show mark last year. We are right on the numbering this year. I promise. I kept very extensive notes and numbers. We got off last year just a little bit. But today we got a lot. We have the World Cup. It is just right around the corner in 3 days. So we're going to go over the group winners. We're going to make some picks, including the World Cup final and our winners, everyone's sleeper/sneaky team. The Golden Boot, that's who scores the most goals, Golden Glove, best goalkeeper, and then Golden Ball is like the best player, right?
yeah.
Yes, that's what I thought. And then we're going to go over Sunday, which I called it this week. It's Sunday is a madness each week. We're going to talk about some crazy NFL games and some storylines that have came out, and then some college basketball. We got some true tests that happened this week, and we got a lot to talk about there. And then we'll recap the insane 10 submission knockout or takedowns or technical knockouts in UFC 281 that led to I guess a lot of people losing some money in Vegas or winning a lot of money. I don't know, Rishi, how big was the wins this week? Did you see them?
Yeah, some people in Indiana lost some money too this weekend.
Oh wow! We'll talk about that later. But we're right into the World Cup here. If no one knows how the World Cup lays out, it is groups to start. So we have groups A through H. 2 teams make it out of each group to the round of 16. So we're going to go through, pick our groups. We're going to open up with Group A. So Group A is Ecuador, the Netherlands, Qatar, and Senegal. Here is the theme though with this one. We all have to agree on who makes it out of the groups. We're going to have to agree.
Oh god.
So who'd like to open up with their case for who makes it out of Group A first?
I'll do it since I got it pulled up before it dies on me. I think it's Qatar, not a chance. I'm sorry. So it comes down to the 3. Netherlands, pretty much, I think it makes it out of the group. They always show up during the World Cup. And then Ecuador, I have. So those are my 2. I don't know who's gonna be 1 or 2, but yep.
Interesting. I had the Netherlands. Rishi, you hinted to data analytics. So there's something called expected goals. They are calculated by, adding all these stats together. So expected goals is how many goals you're supposed to score. These are all from World Cup qualification data pools. The Netherlands held the highest expected goals out of all World Cup qualification at 3.2 expected goals per game. So they're expected to score 3 goals every game. I'm not in agreement on Ecuador yet, but Senegal is probably one of my favorite African teams in this tournament. They have a very deep squad. Now, losing Sadio Mane as of yesterday I'm still kind of on edge with them, but I think they're probably one of the best teams. I like Ecuador. I just don't think they're going to be deep enough to beat out Senegal.
I've got the same. I got Netherlands just dog walking the group, winning every single game. But the second spot is interesting because Senegal would have been my favorite. up until Mane got injured.
Literally
I
yesterday, they confirmed him yesterday out.
I still think they make it out, but I wouldn't sleep on Ecuador getting out, or even Qatar with their
Qatar was crazy. They had a 3.09. They led the Asian, so they're technically, so Qatar and some of those Middle Eastern teams are put into the Asian division for World Cup qualification. They led the Asian division at 3.09 expected goals per game. So, I mean, you take it for what it is, and you can always take it for what their groups were, but they were actually really good in World Cup qualification. Even though they did get a technical bid because, they are the host country, but they're actually pretty solid.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
I'm taking Qatar via bribery. But my favorite team, obviously in this group, Netherlands. I might sprinkle Netherlands to make the semifinals bet. And yeah, I think if you guys want to say Ecuador, I'm good with Ecuador. If you want to say Senegal, I'm good with that. But yeah, I want it on the record. Qatar via bribery, taking it home.
Yeah, I'll be Ecuador or Senegal. I didn't know much about Senegal, so
we're gonna put Ecuador/Senegal because I feel like we're all still like, I feel like we're gonna watch one game. We're gonna be like, okay, that team's probably gonna be better than the other team. So we'll give it a 50-50. We're split down in the middle. Then we're on to Group B. Group B, everyone's favorite. Oh, why did it just kick me out? Come on. Group B, everybody's favorite. We have England, Iran, the lovely U.S., as I'm repping today, and Wales. This is an interesting group. I honestly think this might be one of the most competitive groups in the tournament. Who'd like to start it off with who they got making it out of this group?
I'll go for it. I think England wins the group, unfortunately, as a US fan. But I don't think they're going to beat the US. I think the US and England are going to draw on Black Friday. But the USA is just, they've been sketchy as of recently. They lost to Japan, and I forget who their other friendly was, but they also lost, or they drew. I think it was Saudi Arabia or something like that.
Oh no, it might have been Saudi Arabia. I don't know. It was weird. It was.
Yeah, but it was a 0-0 draw. They haven't been in the best form, but I still think they get second. I got England first, USA second.
Me too.
Me three, because I am definitely, but Wales is, if you can do my sneaky pick, that's my sneaky pick. If that could, because I'm sorry, yes, I'm going by Welcome to Wrexham. I'm sorry, I love that show, but I've seen some of those Wales players and their fight against England. That's going to be kind of like UCLA, USC every single year. Doesn't matter if, say, England's USC or whatever, ranked whatever. It's going to be a fight. And England, I really think it does go 3-0, but Wales will give them a fight. I think it's going to be a few draws in this round. So, and don't forget about Iran, but yeah, but I got to go with democracy. No, I'm kidding. But still, yeah, England, USA.
Alex, you gonna put US on top?
I think the U.S. make it out of the group, and I think they make it out on a tiebreaker, unfortunately. I don't think the U.S. is as good as we think. I've looked at the squad. I've very deeply gone through the squad. I'm not very confident in this team yet. I think the first game is going to be the biggest measuring stick game for them all season, or for this World Cup. It's just an aggressive group. That's the thing. Like, I think we're going to see a lot of goals in this group. I think each team defensively can have their moments where they're just exposed completely. Even looking at the English team, like, they're going to be good, but they have had problems with quick teams beating them. Wales is just literally loaded at forwards and midfielders. Their defense is so untested. So I'd be interested to see how the U.S. attacks them. In Iran, Iran literally has like one good player. I'm going to be honest. It's Mahdi Taremi. He's literally a beast. I think he scored like 9 goals in World Cup qualification. I think the U.S. makes it out, but I think they make it out by the hair on their chinny chin chin. I don't think this is like a overwhelming USA. I'm in agreement that I think they might scrape a draw against England. I think England might win that game 2-1 though, but I think they could beat Iran. I think Wales is going to give them a tough time, and then everyone plays each other twice, right? That's
Once.
right.
Once.
Oh shoot. So I think maybe Wales loses to Iran randomly, and that's how the U.S. makes it out of the group. And then we're on to Group C. Group C is another tough group, I would say. Argentina, Mexico, Poland, and Saudi Arabia. I'm going to start this out. I think Argentina makes it out of the group. I want this to be noted to everybody. The World Cup has implemented 5 substitutions this year for the tournament. So deep squads are going to kind of have an upper, like deep quality squads are going to have an advantage. They're going to be able to sub guys in. Argentina looks very deep on paper. They do have that curse though of the fact that Messi just can't win anything with them. But I think they're a really good team. Second place, again, is a tough one for me. I think Mexico is actually going to be at the bottom of this group. I think this is one of the worst Mexico teams that I've seen ever, from just a squad depth piece. Like, they're just not very good. They have a lot of injuries. They're without a lot of guys. They don't have all their talisman that they like to bring to tournaments. And I think Poland comes in second. I think Robert Lewandowski definitely carries that team, but I'd be interested to say that maybe Saudi Arabia is going to give somebody a fit one game and grab a quick little W.
I've got Poland getting out too with Argentina. Mexico they're missing Jesus Corona through injury. Raul Jimenez barely made the squad, and those are their 2 kind of attackers other than Chucky Lozano, and Lozano cannot carry them against Argentina. And they also didn't bring Diego Lainez, who I thought was one of their better younger players. They didn't even bring him into the team. So this is like a really old Mexico team that's in terrible form. And I think they're going to go third, and Poland's going to get through Lewandowski. And Argentina's going to dominate with 3 wins.
Yeah, I came into this kind of thinking Mexico had a chance to make it out of this group, but don't follow soccer as closely. So I'm taking Noah's advice on this one, Argentina and Poland. But what I will say about Argentina is they have a tough road, because assuming they win their group, they got to play likely France or Denmark next. And so that's just kind of a tough draw in the first round of the knockout stage.
Is it pool draw? Is it, Noah? Is it pool draw for the round of 16?
What do you mean?
Like, do they pick? Is it like a set tournament bracket? Because I'm trying to remember. I thought it was a pool draw.
The winner of Group C will play the second place of Group D, so it'll be likely France or Denmark.
See, I was trying to look that up yesterday and I couldn't find it, but now I guess I'm wrong.
Already set.
No, yeah, I knew nothing about soccer, so what I did was I just looked at the structure of the tournament. I was like, who's got the harder roads? Who's got the easier paths? And yeah, Argentina's got some tough teams they'll have to beat if they want to have the storybook ending for Messi.
Yeah, Argentina, I think, sweeps the group. It's always hard to rule out Mexico, but I think, look, just with the story of what's going on, I think Poland could be this year's Denmark. I think that kind of story, they're going to be kind of sneaky, and they're playing for national pride right now. So don't ever underestimate national pride especially during the World Cup. So
yeah, looking at Poland's squad, it is a very deep team. I honestly don't think they're I hate saying it, I don't feel like they're underdogs in this group. I feel like they are going to have to play to what the standards are. Just with some big names on their team, Lewandowski, Szczesny, there's a lot of really good players that are built into this team, a lot of Premier League players. So I honestly think their first game could be a measuring tape game, and they're going to have to come out and they're going to have to play good, because if you let up off the gas against a Saudi Arabia or a Mexico for like 10 minutes, that could be a goal or two that you've given away in such a tight game.
I agree.
So we're on Argentina and Poland. I think this could be another tough group. It is Group D: Australia, Denmark, and France.
Not according to the odds makers. Not according to the odds makers. Jeez. Seen the France and Australia one. We talked about it before the show.
Okay, I'll say it. France is going to be a disappointing team this year.
You. At least I'm not the
There
only
is the World Cup winner's curse. The past
Well, also-
3 World Cups, the winner from the past World Cup has not advanced out of the group.
But so you could probably speak to this better, but don't they also have some like midfielder injuries and stuff?
They are running I think they are one of the thinnest teams that I look at from like the top half. Looking at it, their midfield, they have 6 active midfielders with them. So this is going to truly, I think, stretch them to a new formational style. I think Noah's going to agree with me here. I think they're going to have to play 5 in the back. Just to keep legs on the field, because with 5 subs, they can sub in and out those outside backs very often. They can sub 2 guys in a game, and then they can sub strikers in and forwards in. So I think that's going to be the most interesting part. Is truly to like, I want to see how deep their squad is.
I got Denmark winning the group, France being the second. But Denmark, let's see, that no one thought Denmark was going to go far last World Cup. I can't believe that's been already 4 years. Jeez. But I think Denmark, they're finally going to have a target on their back, but I think they'll rise to the challenge. I swear to God, if Australia pulls off the upset against France, then everything goes out the window in the first game. So I was like, because anything can happen. But Tunisia, don't even know. To be honest, I was kind of against this one being one of the easiest groups, to be honest, except for the Portugal group, which we'll get to. But the Denmark gets sweeps, or maybe gets 2-0-1, depending on how they do against France. France, I think, gets the second one out of it.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. And I think Denmark actually wins all 3 group games. I watched the entire Euros last summer, and Denmark has such a depth of quality of players in their system that it's almost, with 5 substitutions, I almost feel like it's unfair to other teams who they can sub in and out at any given moment. As we all do know, Christian Eriksen did have a heart attack last year, but is returning back to the squad. They're just tough to play. I think they're, honestly, in my opinion, they are my sleeper / sneaky team. I think they're just going to get teams. They get teams very early in the game. They're very fast. They're very fit. They're just going to play very hard. My only concern is it is very close window this year between people coming out of league play and going into World Cup play. So, fitness and, energy could be a problem. So I'd be interested to see where teams are by game 3. If their teams are up, or are they sitting people or to protect for the next round? But I honestly think Denmark is probably one of the best quality teams in the tournament.
So I don't know, like, this is something that I wanted to also point out. I like Denmark, and I was excited about them until everyone had them as a sleeper team. And now I'm wondering, is everyone too high on Denmark? But so if they win this group, their chances of advancing to the quarterfinals are 72%. But if they get second, then it goes all the way down to like 37%. And then their chances to making the semifinals, if they win this group, are like 40%. And if they lose the group, it's all the way down to like 15%. So if they can win this group, I really like the matchups they have.
So if they do win, as we have it laid out right now, they are in 1D. So they'll be facing 2C, which Group C is what we predicted is a Poland versus Denmark game. So yeah, I mean, I think
Denmark
that could be a
blow them
problem.
out.
And that would set up a blockbuster of Argentina, France in the round of 16.
Yeah, which, mind you, France knocked out Argentina in the last World Cup.
Yes.
So I think that game would be a bloodbath of a game. If you don't watch South American soccer, you're going to see guys' ankles bleeding by about 20 minutes into the game. Like, there are going to be guys physically bleeding on the field because they're just going to attempt to kill each other at any given time. But I just can't bet against Denmark.
Real injuries, not the ones that are like, oh, my knee. Okay, I'm fine.
So
Sorry.
are we all in agreeing here on, or in agreement on Denmark, France?
Yes.
We're all in agreement. I really like that word.
I have France
Agreeing.
first, but I can see Denmark finishing first. So.
All right, on to what is considered the group of death for this tournament: Costa Rica, Germany, Japan, and Spain. I think this is one of the most interesting groups. Just like from top to bottom, I could see every one of these. Like, each team could somehow make a way out of this group in my mind. Like, every team.
Yeah, I think for Costa Rica, I don't think this is a team that they've been in the past, especially 2014 when they made it to the quarterfinals. I don't see Costa Rica doing much damage in this group. But I do think that Spain are not going to make it through, and I think Japan are going to get second and Germany win it.
I picked.
Oh, go ahead, Rishi.
I picked Spain and Germany just because I think they're tough outs, but I'm giving Japan a chance to make it out of this group. So if we want to say that, I don't hate it, but I do feel like Spain has a good roster put together. I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
They have a better roster than they've had in the past, especially 2018, the last World Cup.
Mm-hmm. Their last roster was terrible. Like, I hated their last roster, but I'm really looking at this roster, and I think it's a really good mix of young and old. I mean, of course, you have like Koke, Sergio Busquets, Alvaro Morata. You have some really older players. Their goalkeeping situation, I'm still not sold on. But their defense, really good. I think they're going to come out with they can come out so many different ways. That's the thing I'm really excited to see, is which way they come out in defense. You know, you could put Ayer Laporte, you could put Eric Garcia or Pau Torres next to them, whoever you like more. Cesar Azpilicueta could always play center back. It's going to be a good team. I honestly think the Germans are going to have a problem in defense. And that's why I want to put Spain ahead of them. If nobody does know, Lucas Klosterman has not been confirmed to play yet, like to start at right back. So Christian Gunter or Nico Schlotterbeck would be the backup to him. And honestly, their defensive depth is kind of scary. Once you get past your two starting center backs, you're either playing Thilo Kehrer, who's been okay, but he's young, or Matthias Ginter, who I really like. And at left back, they only have David Raum. So they lose somebody. Joshua Kimmich might have to get dropped back into the midfield. Their attack looks really good. I'm really excited to see what they can do up there. But I'm just not sold on their defense.
Their defense is, I think it's average. I think Sule has been in pretty good form, but other than that, you know, their midfield is still really good with Kimmich, Kai Havertz.
I think
really
Germany definitely. I think Germany actually sweeps the group. I think this is the first time they're not the ones that are favored in pretty much anything in soccer wise. other than when they play like England or, well, I guess France. But I think Germany has a chip on their shoulder. I believe 90% or something comes. Their roster is Dortmund and Bayern Munich. They have pretty much had the biggest games in the last about decade. So they've dominated the Bundesliga. They've had huge games. Germany has a great goalkeeper. And he's been, I believe, he's one of the veterans on the team. So I think Germany wins the group. I think Spain and Costa Rica can make some problems for Spain, but I think Spain gets out of the group at number 2. But I might be a little biased. I did take 2 years of German. I love that class, but that's all we did was German soccer. It was awesome. But
see, the thing about Japan that I like is they just always turn up for a tournament, especially last World Cup. They just play as a team and they have like the best chemistry in the entire World Cup. And they have a lot of good young players coming up this year that have experience in Europe top 5 leagues. So I don't know. I think they can shock some people.
I'll ride with you on Japan, Noah. I'm in on them.
I'm going to go Japan/Spain. I think once again it's going to be another one of those groups we are like on match day 3. We're like, okay, this is what we need to see here. Do you guys know the layout of who plays who first?
Yeah, the winner plays likely. Well, the winner could play Croatia.
So the Germans
Morocco,
play Japan
Canada.
first. The Germans play Japan first.
You meant in the group stage matchup.
Yeah, I want to see who they play in the group stage because that's always the way they're laid out is always interesting. So Spain plays Costa Rica. I think Spain beats Costa Rica.
Germany beats Japan. I'm telling you right now, Germany is pissed from the last
Then
World
Japan
Cup.
plays Costa Rica and Spain plays Germany. So I think match day 2 is where I would decide if I think legit. Because if Japan pulls a draw against Germany, beats Costa Rica, and then Germany and Spain have to play each other, that is exactly where I think the group could flip on its head. So
that last game would be Japan versus Spain. Likely, if Japan beats Costa Rica, then that would probably be for a spot in the round of 16. So that would be a game to watch.
This is going to be the one that ends up being okay. Watch the scoreboard in the last game of the group. So I'm still sticking with Germany as my number 1 team to come out of it. I'm not saying they're going to be even in the semifinal, but I think Germany, you have, especially during Christmas time, especially during all this, Germany lives and dies football. All right. So they have literally however many people live in Germany, every single one of them's backing that national team. They'll feel it. I think Germany's going to win this group.
I got Costa Rica finishing with 0 points in this group. 3 L's.
I could very well see that. I think the only bright side that Costa Rica has is they do have like a top 20 goalkeeper in the tournament.
He's more than top 20. He's probably top 10.
But he's not played. That's the thing. There is a little bit of a form question.
Yeah, still based on his track record, he's still
a good goalie. Now we're on to Group F. I keep saying I think this is the most interesting group. I think this one is the one that nobody is going to see coming. I'm gonna say it. I have Belgium crashing out of the group. I think that Croatia is going to win the group single-handedly. I have been riding this Croatia wave since the 2018 World Cup. You want to talk about a team who turns it on for the World Cup? This team is full of older players, but also this nice new mix of young guys. They're just good. They're just flat out good. They play good. Their coach has been with them forever. They know what they need to do. Luka Modric, I think, honestly, is always a good conversation for Golden Ball because he's just everywhere on the field. Brozovic, great player. Mateo Kovacic on decent form. Their attack is very interesting. You know, we haven't seen a lot of these guys play yet, but if they put it together, and I think they just keep from getting scored on, honestly, just don't get scored on a ton. They also, I want to say this, they tied Portugal in XG for the World Cup qualifiers at 2.51 a game. So, you know, Poland only had 1.82. The Denmark only had 1.84. You can say that they were mixing and matching with their squads, but Croatia's basically stayed together this whole time. As far as who I think comes in second, I think Canada kind of shocks everybody. I think Canada is kind of playing with a little bit of a chip on their shoulder. You know, they didn't get World Cup jerseys. You know, nobody's really respected them so far. I think they're a really good team. They're a really tough team to play, as the U.S. has seen. And I think Belgium's, unfortunately, this golden generation goes down burning once again.
I think, I would pick Canada if it wasn't in Qatar. I'm sorry. It's like, I have no idea, because where has Canada been practicing? It really does come down to that. I mean, you can have total opposites of weather and they get the total heat in Qatar. So, I'm sorry. Belgium's kind of I would say the 76ers of the World Cup. They always end up being in the group or the knockout stage, but never go that far really. But Belgium's gonna really win the group, and then I think it's gonna. When does Canada play Croatia in the group or the group?
I'm gonna look at that right now. Canada, Croatia. They might be the Saturday games. Croatia opens up with Canada.
Ooh.
Belgium opens up with Morocco, which I think Morocco is a trap game. I'm not gonna lie. I see Morocco as a trap game.
Yeah. I think with that, I think Croatia wins the group just because of that. I don't think Canada's going to be ready for going 90 minutes in this kind of environment. And don't get me wrong, I am putting the environment and the weather all into consideration here, because this isn't. Yeah, they're not, first of all, we're not used to having the World Cup in November and December, but it's not going to be Canadian weather, I'll tell you that. So Canada is also a sneaky team, and I'm rooting for Canada. I'm sorry. Croatia, I think Belgium they're always solid. You can put them 1 or 2, but they're going to get out of this group stage. So I got Belgium and Croatia.
I'm also rooting for Canada, but I don't think they're going to get out of this group. They do have Alphonso Davies, but he's been injured as of recently, and I think he's just now starting to get up to speed, and he's kind of what their whole team
Jonathan David?
No,
David?
Alphonso Davies is number one. Jonathan David's good too, but
Jonathan David carried them through qualification though. Like he's probably the reason they are standing here in this tournament right now.
Him and I also like Kyle Aaron, their other forward. But I still don't think they're gonna have what it takes here. I always get sold on Belgium and I always end up eating my words, but I think they finished second here. I still love Kevin De Bruyne is in probably some of the best form that he's been in a while. He's healthy. He's not injured. Lukaku's in okay form as well. So, but Croatia I do have finishing first, Belgium second.
Yeah, I wanted to hear Noah's thoughts on it before I made any picks, because this was a group where I was like, the odds are saying any of these 4 teams could really make it out of this group. And then when I looked at Belgium's roster, I was like, oh, I recognize a lot of these names, which might not be a good thing for a guy who hasn't like closely followed soccer for over 4 years. But yeah, so I was pretty in on Belgium, but I'm fine fading them because either way, in the round of 16, they got to probably play Germany or Spain. So, yeah, I'll go with whatever you guys want to go with. But I was confident.
I think Canada's I hate putting them in the sneaky too, but I think it would require Belgium falling apart at the seams for them to beat them. I will say, out of the European teams, I did look this up, Belgium has the oldest European squad in the tournament, age-wise. Of average age, Belgium is the oldest.
Yeah, I think they're
So-
realizing this year that like this is kind of their last chance before they need to rebuild. I think they're gonna turn up. They're not gonna turn up as well as they could, but they're still gonna make the round of 16, I think.
Mm-hmm. All righty, on to another group. Group G, we have Brazil, Cameroon, Serbia, and Switzerland. Who'd like to open this one?
I guess I will. I think everybody will say Brazil's going 1. I'm sorry, it's Brazil's thing to run. But to be honest, how did Cameroon do last one? Because how'd Cameroon do? I know
They were not in the tournament. They were not in the last World Cup. I don't know what they came out in.
I think
And
they're
I'm
one
afraid
of the
for
bottom.
Ghana, then I get the flags confused, man.
think-
But I think it's gonna come down. Oh man, I really don't know who's gonna be coming out second in there, but I'm picking Serbia because they've been kind of around 2 or 3, usually a lot of the time. So, but I think it's an easy sweep for Brazil. And it's going to come down to Serbia, Switzerland. And I think Serbia is going to win that matchup, or at least get a draw out of it. And then, yeah.
Yeah, I've got Brazil sweeping as well. And Serbia is a team that I really like. Their attack is pretty lethal. And I think they're gonna kind of bomb it forward and just try and score as many goals as possible, which has obviously its ups and its downs. But I think their defense can hold. Their defense isn't the most, I'd say, strong, but I think they're in really good form as well. So I think they're gonna take second pretty easily. I don't see Switzerland doing very well.
I think I'm 50-50 on the Swiss and the Serbians. The Serbians, of course, did not play in the Euros last year. They did not make the tournament. The Swiss, though, did play and were actually really good. They're, just like I said with Croatia, they're just built to last. These guys have probably played together for 5+ years. And if these guys are new, they've been with them for at least 2 years. I think they're just a really deep and a really good squad. And honestly, I think the Serbia-Switzerland head-to-head matchup truly decides who makes it out of this group.
I think that's the first game, isn't it? They're in.
I think Brazil plays Serbia first.
Oh, yeah.
And
I'm
then
looking right now. I have the groups open. I'm looking. I wish they made it easy to find these games, though. Yes, Brazil plays the Swiss first, and Cameroon plays Serbia. So,
Yeah, my opinion on this group, like Brazil is the heavy favorite for a reason, and I'm sure we'll talk about them more later in the show. But this is a group like I wouldn't want to make a bet on who else is getting out of this group, because I wouldn't want to be rooting against Switzerland, Serbia, or Cameroon, because I feel like they can all play with each other. So I don't know. Yeah, if you guys want to go with Serbia, I like Serbia. So
I just wanted to be noted the XG for their qualification, they had a 0.2 difference. Serbia was at 2.08 and the Swiss were at 2.06. So it's splitting hairs. Cameroon was actually ranked as one of the worst XG teams, next to Costa Rica and Ghana at a 1.46 per game. So they're only scoring 1 goal a game. So
I also
I
believe
think
outside of other than Qatar, I think they have the lowest FIFA world ranking.
yes.
actually, never mind. I'm out on Cameroon. I was looking at something else now, and I'm out on them.
I think Serbia. I think the Serbia-Switzerland matchup is a big one, but I do think Serbia does grab a win there. I think they are just going to be so lethal, and if this Swiss team gets tired, they don't have a lot of defensive substitutions. So I'd be interested to say that I think that Serbia just grabs them. On to another group that has been debated between three teams. Group H, the last group, it is Ghana, Portugal, South Korea, and Uruguay. I don't even know where to start with this group. I could pick like three. I could see all, other than Ghana, either three of these teams could win in my books.
Is Son playing?
Yes, Son is playing. He is confirmed match fit. He will be wearing the Kobe Bryant broken nose mask, though.
Oh, then I'm taking South Korea. To me, South Korea and Portugal. Or I don't know. I tough to pick against Uruguay. I'll let you guys decide this one.
See, I got Uruguay winning the group. They're really young and their players are in some of the best form of their lives, especially Valverde. He's one of the best midfielders in the world right now. And I just love watching Darwin Nunez and play, and pairing him with Luis Suarez is going to be a beautiful sight to see. I think Nunez even could, if Uruguay progresses far enough, he could win the Golden Boot. But I've got Uruguay winning, and I got South Korea second. I don't think Portugal's gonna show up, especially with the whole Ronaldo situation.
Here's my sentence for Uruguay. They are going to beat the hell out of you, no matter who they're playing, when the game is. It could be according to our time, it's 5 a.m, but it's at night there. It could be 11 o'clock at night there. It could be 2 o'clock in the afternoon. They're just going to beat you into the ground the whole game. They're physical. I think they honestly had the highest amount of red cards in the 2018 World Cup. These guys are they're born killers. Like I said, South American football is not something you want to mess with. And if there's a team that I don't think I'd like to have matched up against them, it's honestly Portugal. In their head-to-head matchup, I think that Ronaldo in the first 2 seconds in the first 10 minutes will get slide tackled by somebody. I think it'll be Lucas Torreira is just going to come clean his house and just let him know that, we're not here to let this be the Ronaldo walking away retirement party, which he's saying if Portugal wins that he will retire from world football. So I think he gets upset, and I think he's going to come back for another World Cup.
Go ahead.
Okay. I think the exact same thing will happen. I think Ronaldo is going to retire, but it's going to be on the other end, and Portugal's going to go out, and Ronaldo's going to be done. I think that's it for him.
Are you a Messi fan, or are you?
Honestly, I have never chosen Messi or Ronaldo.
Okay.
But this whole ordeal that he's going with Manchester United, and one of his teammates, Bruno Fernandes, is Portuguese, and I don't think Bruno really likes him that much going into this World Cup.
No, there was a video clip, and it was a very awkward exchange. It was a very awkward exchange.
I did see that clip. So I think their chemistry is just going to be way off. Plus, their manager is just very weird. He just tends to have terrible tactics.
Oh, if he starts Pepe, I'm texting in the group chat that they're out of the tournament. If he starts Pepe in the first game, I'm calling it that. It's that.
They're just he's a weird team.
I disagree. I think it's going to be this is going to be Ronaldo's Derek Jeter moment. Okay, I think he actually goes off. He's pissed. And you do not want a pissed off Ronaldo going against your team. I don't care how old he is. Okay, rather than Messi, he's actually showed up during the World Cup. So I think Portugal and Uruguay get out of the group. I don't know who's 1 or 2, but Uruguay is kind of like the bad boys Pistons, only in soccer. They will literally bite your ear off if they have to. But Portugal, do not sleep on Portugal. I'm sorry. I don't care what. It's kind of like Germany in soccer. It's like Portugal, this is their only good sport. All right. This is what they live for. Portugal, I think, will come out with a vengeance and say, screw all the rest of you, and actually maybe probably tie Uruguay, but I think they go 2-0-1 in the group.
Yeah, I'm actually confident enough to say that the winner of this group, I'll pick them to go to the semifinals because the winner is matched up with likely Serbia, Switzerland. The second place team has to play Brazil, so big
Yeah.
difference to me there. So
Yeah.
if we're picking Uruguay, I'm taking them to go to the semis.
So now the question is where are the votes? Because me and Noah are on South Korea. Matthew's on Portugal going at 2. Rishi, where are you on this fence?
He did
So
say
this are the South Korea boys thinking Uruguay's the number 1 seed?
yes.
Uruguay's number 1 in my mind. Here's my thing about South Korea. Last tournament, they trashed the Germans, knocked them out of the group stage. I just think they're a scary team, and that I think a lot of people underestimate how good they can be at moments. And they can just put together a really good closing 45 minutes, put 3 goals in on you, and you lose. And I'm just out on Portugal. That's my honest answer. Like, I just can't, I don't have that feeling with Portugal where I'm like, if they win their first 2 games and they beat Uruguay, I'll be all in. But if they don't, if Uruguay stomps them, I'd probably say they crash out.
I hate to open another can of worms, but can anyone tell me why Ghana and South Korea have the same odds to make it out of the group? Betting odds? Does that make any sense?
So it's weird. So how Ghana's laid out is Ghana, it looks really solid in attack. Their defense is like okay, like it's supposed to be okay on paper, but like I haven't seen it play all together. And the South Koreans have a very big problem of they still have no clue. They know who will start in goal, but if that guy plays bad, they have not decided who's number 2 yet. So
okay.
They did stomp in World Cup qualification though. South Korea posted a 2.3, which the only team that had a higher one was Qatar and Japan in expected goals out of that group, out of the like Oceania group. So
okay.
Yeah, they could really like look at these groups, like putting Qatar in the Asian or what the Asia group or whatever it was.
It's just competitive balance. So there's not enough Middle Eastern teams to put all those teams together right now, because the Middle East is really, I mean, no one knows it. I mean, when you watch Middle Eastern soccer, it's not very good. Like, it's basically like, because like Egypt falls into Africa, so it's kind of like weirdly sectioned out. So they just put them into the Asian group because Asia has more competition, and they add Australia and New Zealand into it. So it's just to make it like technically there's like 4 groups pushing in instead of like it being like 7 or 8 groups pushing in. So, I mean, it's the same. Russia lines up in the Euros. So, I mean,
well, they can't play in that. So until they stop the war or whatever, they're not playing. So
I think so South Korea 2, Portugal 2. You want me to put a slash mark and say post first game we decide?
I'm down with that.
I think the slash mark. Unfortunately, I feel like we slash marked 3 groups. So A, E, and H. We slash marked because I just think we're all 50-50. But now we're on to the World Cup final. Guys, who do we have in this thing?
So because you guys have the tournament or whatever, and me and Alex didn't. So
I have the tournament up now, so
okay.
I can. So if there's a team you're looking at, like specifically, I can tell you how they would get to the World Cup.
Okay, I'm looking at two teams. I'm really hoping they don't play each other in like the semifinals or quarterfinals, because I think it would be a really darn good game. I'm looking at Brazil. Brazil, I think, is going to make a comeback finally, and I think they're going to be in the final, obviously. And man, I really want to say Germany, but that's probably a little.
So if Germany wins their group, they would play in the quarterfinals against Brazil.
Okay, then yeah, Brazil's That's
If
going to
Germany
be a
gets
fun
second, they
game.
can play in the final.
Yeah, they could play in the final if they came in second, which I mean, then you're entrusting a lot of faith into either Spain. You're entrusting a lot of faith into Spain then.
Yeah, and then I think the winner of that Germany-Brazil game is going to make the final. I'm sorry if Frau Muller, if you're watching, I'm so sorry. I'm picking Brazil then. And then also you're gonna love this pick, Alex. United States of America comes out of nowhere. Can they play Brazil in the final?
Yes, they could play Brazil in the final. Now,
Yes.
this is who they would face. So they face the winner of 1D, which is France or Denmark. They
Denmark
would be
is
facing
scary. France, I think we
2A,
can beat.
which 2A could be scary because that's the Senegal or Ecuador, which is if they play Ecuador, I feel like that is the biggest trap game ever. But if they come out of the group at 2, which is going to be tough for them, they come out of the group at 2, they play the Netherlands.
No, they can't. If they have to, either the U.S. has to win their group or Brazil has to get second for them to be able to play in the finals.
Okay, so then Netherlands and Brazil then, if that's going to be what it's going to be.
Oh, the Netherlands and Brazil would be on the same side of the bracket.
Oh, for crying out loud! I hate that thing. Pete's sake. Okay.
I mean, if you were to take like a swing, like if you're really confident on Belgium, you could say Belgium.
No, I'm not confident at all in Belgium.
Portugal, Brazil final.
Man, not Portugal either. Damn.
England.
I really don't want to pick them, but
You're England. You're at either England, USA, France, Denmark, or Croatia.
Denmark
or Uruguay.
Denmark.
You could take Uruguay. We could see an all South American final, which would be crazy.
I think it's Denmark versus Brazil. I think that's going to go way out of the thing. That game, if Brazil plays Germany, holy crud, is that going to be a matchup?
I can go
Rishi?
next.
Yeah.
All right.
It's like soccer royalty matchup. That's like the Lakers Celtics back in the 80s. All right.
Last time Brazil played Germany, we do know what happened.
Yeah, they got the brakes beaten off them.
I do remember watching that game.
David Luiz was crying. If David Luiz shows up to that game and talks to Brazil before, Brazil's going to run through a brick wall.
All right, I need everyone get the piggy banks out. I'm giving my best bets to win it all. I think Brazil's the favorite for a good reason. So if you're putting money on anyone to win it, I think they're worth a sprinkle. I'm also giving England. So my predicted final is Brazil and England. And sprinkle a little on Denmark, maybe Netherlands or Belgium, but those are ones that, like, if they start advancing, I might want to cash out if they're giving me some money. So I think Denmark, Netherlands, and Belgium, maybe a little sprinkle on them, but then I'm taking England and Brazil in the final. I guess I'll say Brazil's my winner.
Yeah, me too.
You guys both have Brazil winning?
Yeah.
Okay.
So my semifinal featured Brazil versus Argentina, which would be probably the game of the century. And then
Messi playing Neymar would be.
Yes,
I would literally, if I had class that day, I'm sorry, whoever my professor is, I could be taking the final. I'm skipping that thing.
Yeah. It would be, and the rivalry those two countries have is just awesome to watch. So, but I have Argentina beating them in the semifinal. In the other game, I had Uruguay versus France, and I have France winning. So my final, Argentina versus France. I've picked Argentina.
Yeah.
And
France.
I think if Argentina makes it to the final, they're going to win, just because the way that Messi, he's still like very hungry, and the way they lost in 2014, I think they're going to turn up for that. And also Argentina has not lost an international match since 2019. They've won or drawn 36 games.
They're ridiculous. They're ridiculous right now.
So their form, I think, is incredible. And I like them to win this. Yeah.
Do you think so? In a game, Argentina versus either France or Denmark, You're taking Argentina.
Yes.
I
And
think
then-
the winner of Brazil Argentina is going to win the World Cup because the left half of the bracket is so much harder than the right half. Because
Yeah.
you can end up with a team like Uruguay or Serbia or somebody like that in the semifinal.
Yep.
And the left half is just an absolute gauntlet.
I agree.
Well, I think whoever wins the semifinal on the left half is gonna win. But I've got Argentina.
Okay, well, I'm now on the podium to make a pick here. God. Honestly, I want to say my crazy semifinal. Like this is like everything goes bad for the big ones. It's Croatia, Denmark in the semifinals, which that game would be beautiful to watch. And I think for the madness, I probably have to say like Netherlands, Spain would be very interesting. All European final. I think sometimes these South American teams beat themselves up too much and they maybe commit a few more fouls than they need to and too many yellow cards. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, you can only get 3 and then you got a nice little game suspension. So that's something interesting to watch out for. But I think my final, I was really sipping on that Denmark Kool-Aid at the beginning. But I think Uruguay is just so good, and I think they're just so physical. I would love to see them in the final, and I think they play the Netherlands. I think the Netherlands, they've been so disappointing in the past few tournaments that I think they finally just say, you know what, we just play our hearts out. I think all these guys really want to be there. I think a lot of these guys are on really good form and have played a lot of club minutes this year, so I'm excited. And I go with the Netherlands getting the perennial comes back finally, and they get a dub in the World Cup final.
I like it.
So, all right, now we're on to the sleepers. So we've kind of gone over a few. On mine, I had Denmark and Serbia. Those are actually my 2 big ones. I think those 2 teams might just be skating under the radar. Matthew, you have had Wales. Noah, did you want to put Serbia on there?
Yeah, I have Serbia and Japan, and then I have a wild one. Just because anything can happen with them. I think Qatar could even get out of the group.
Holy
I'd watch out for them.
I love it. I love it. I also got
Right.
Serbia and Denmark. Not much to add. If Denmark can win that group, I think they got a great chance of advancing.
I didn't know Denmark was a out of the box thing. I was kind of thinking they were like top 5. So in my book, so
They played really good in the Euros, but still a lot of people have like just disrespect them because, of course, I mean, you have the Netherlands, England, Belgium, Germany, Portugal. All these teams have been just so good in that scene that it just seems stupid for Denmark to be good. France, I mean, Spain, I mean, they're just not considered perennial. So
France is going to blow it. France is going to absolutely blow it. I could see them actually having more of a chance of losing every single game in the group stage than them winning every single game in the group stage.
I feel like that could happen too. I do want to shout out kind of a long shot. I kind of want to say Iran is going to cause some problems.
I agree.
They're
Man,
just
is
kind
that-
of they're just a scary team to match up against. And I think, if they get that, as my old soccer coach said, if you just laying it down the field and there's a guy down there to score every goal, you might just win. So now we're on to the Golden Boot. So the Golden Boot is whoever scores the most goals in the tournament, of course, wins it. Now here's the question. Who's going to make it far enough to score that many goals?
Harry Kane.
Namor's going to do it.
That's the dude.
Rishi's
from
going with the favorite. Rishi, come on.
Namor's the dude from Black Panther.
Rishi's
Talking
going with
about
Harry
Neymar.
Kane.
Yeah.
Hey, Namor was
Coming
a
home.
badass in that movie, man.
No, yeah, Harry Kane. England's gonna win a lot of games in this tournament. He's gonna score some goals and take it home.
I think Kane can bang a lot of goals, but I don't think England's going to make it as far enough to score enough goals. So I've picked Karim Benzema from France because I have him in the final. And Benzema's in insane form. And
Sorry.
he's gonna score the goals.
Yeah. I'm sorry I said Neymar instead of Neymar, but sorry. Yeah. Whatever.
Who'd you have, Noah? You had Benzema.
Benzema.
All right. Well, in true madness fashion that I enjoy, I am going to go completely off the board. And I feel like it's only fair that I get 2 picks if I'm going off the board here. I'm going with Dusan Vlahovic from Serbia.
Oh, big shock. He's
And
going Serbia.
I'm going to go off the board here. I feel like I have to go off the board for this one too if I'm going crazy. Tim Weah from the United States.
That is absurd.
Nice. Can I give
All
a
right,
long
now
shot for
on
this
the
one?
Golden Glove. This is, huh?
Can I give? Let me give
It's
one
gonna be
long
anybody, it's
shot.
gonna be
For,
the LeBron James of soccer.
I got my long shot. It's I don't know how to pronounce his name. Vinicius Jr.
Oh, Vinicius.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you look up some advanced metrics for him, Rishi?
No, what it was is
Because
when I was reading through
he just
previews.
kills advanced metrics. Like he is probably one of the highest rated advanced metric players in all of world football.
Some preview I was reading was like he may play better than Neymar this tournament. And I was like, all right,
He's supposed to be the
people are thinking-
successor to Neymar.
So let's go with him for a long shot. I don't know how long the shot is.
Noah and Matt, do you guys have anybody that's off the board crazy?
Yeah, my long shot is Darwin Nunez from Uruguay.
Ooh,
And this is the goalkeeper award, right? I'm not the soccer.
Oh no,
person.
we're still on Golden Boot. We're off the board on gold. We're going on
I'm
off the board takes.
Oh, then crap. What's that guy's name? The guy that plays in Germany for the United States. Gosh, I can not remember his name. Plays for Bayern Munich. Oh my goodness.
We don't have anyone playing for Bayern Munich currently.
Or he was.
Pulisic?
Yes.
Pulisic?
Yeah.
Right. LeBron James.
All right. So now we're on to the Golden
Who's
Glove.
he play for now, by the way?
Chelsea. He plays
Oh,
in
okay. That's
England.
my problem. That's my problem. Okay.
All
He was
right.
on Dortmund.
I have to go with the metrics because I love metrics way too much. Allison is the highest rated metric keeper in all of world football currently. He's on Brazil. He has a stellar defense in front of him. He doesn't give up many goals. I got to go with Allison. Long shot though, Muslera out of Uruguay is really good, really young.
Neuer.
Yeah, I've also
number
gone
one.
for Allison. Give me a minute to think of my long shot.
Can Hugo Lloris win it, you think?
And he's so old that he's honestly, I hate raining on Matt's parade, but Neuer and Lloris were like, I did not expect them to play that bad as they played last year in the Euros, which was very concerning for both of them.
Honestly, I think
Let me pick.
Bounce back, baby. Bounce back.
at least like for me, I feel like Golden Glove is more like a testament to the defense in front of you rather than your like actual goalkeeping ability. So
If
I
there's
think
some guy
Lloris
that racks up like 50 saves and saves like 4 penalties, we all know it's
unless you're prime Tim Howard against Belgium. Like
Jordan Pickford's always a sneaky pick though.
Yeah, it's not really
I
a
got
long
my
shot.
guy.
But my other guy would be Emi Martinez from Argentina.
I like Emi Martinez.
I'm going with Wayne Hennessy.
Oh,
Oh
yeah.
God, he'll probably give up the most goals.
That's my boy.
The Henny guy.
Clearly for obvious reasons. And then we're on to the Golden Ball, best player of the tournament. Who is the best player of the tournament?
I have a question.
You can repeat. They do repeat from Golden Boot to Golden Ball.
Name.
So I was
Wow.
actually like researching this a little bit, and I don't think there's been the same winner of the Golden Boot and Golden Ball for like 4 or 5 World Cups. So that I kind of like took that into account, and I picked Messi for the Golden Ball. It's probably the favorite, but
So is this like MVP where one of these awards like the team success factors in, or would you say that a player could maybe.
I mean, the
only make it
longer
to
you
round
play,
of
the better
16.
odds you have in all reality.
Okay.
But let's see, like 2014, James Rodriguez was like insane, and they went out in the round of 16 and he won.
Yeah, but
Okay.
he also was the whole team for about like the whole group stage.
Yeah,
I do remember. Yeah, I remember watching him back then. He was very good.
Yeah, so sad he was bad. So sad.
Yeah, I'll ride with Messi.
Harry Kane.
Harry is notorious for giving a lot of assists off.
But I think he's gonna do it.
Guys, I'm in a tough spot here because there's just so many guys I just love to just. There's always such a good conversation for Luka Modric just for how much he does for Croatia. But I think it's going to be a young guy this year. I think because last one it was old. I think I'm going to go Frankie De Jong. I think he's really going to revive his hype again. For this tournament. It's gonna be pretty insane. I'm gonna be excited to see it. I also like to toss this one always in. Young player of the tournament. Is this an award?
I think so. Yeah.
So you pick a really young guy. I'm also doing this so I can get Dallas on since he's on next. Or he's on for the NFL segment. So I'm kind of giving him a second. But let's pick young players. I just want to young is about. What would you say, Noah? Like 23 max? I would say 23 is usually about the max number.
Yeah, if I had to pick one, I would probably say Pedri from Spain because he's really skillful, or Bellingham from England if they make it far enough.
Yeah, Pedri's probably my take, but I'm actually going to go off the board once again because you guys have to totally understand that I just love these guys. His name is Mikel Damsgaard. He played out of his mind last year with the injury with the heart problem to Christian Eriksen. So he's really good, really young. Love to see him. But I'm also going to throw Xavi Simons in. He's a failed wonder kid who's made a few moves on the past few years. He's only 19, so I think it's going to be interesting to see him in the tournament.
Jude Bellingham.
You're really sipping that England. You're sipping that England Kool-Aid over there.
No, I'm sipping the Bundesliga Kool-Aid. He plays in the
Crumpets.
Bundesliga, so.
Team Crumpets.
I'm going with Freddie Adu.
Yes.
No, I read.
Yes, I
something-
cheated. I had to look them up. I had to literally look up the younger players. So
No, yeah, I cheated too. I read something about a Japanese Messi. I'm going with
Takafuso Kubo.
Yep.
Yeah. Another failed wonder kid that he's on a revival route right now though. Is Dallas in? Yes, he is. Okay, well, we're done with the World Cup. We're excited to watch it. I know I'm super excited to watch it. But we did have on our side of the pond, football last weekend was an absolute mayhem. I'm just going to go through these games. We're just going to talk about them because they were crazy. First off, as I like to call this one, I called it Kirkmania. The Bills are knocked off in overtime by the Vikings, 33-30. It was a crazy game. Let's just talk about it. I feel
that
like
we couldn't watch, by the way, here in Indiana, which really pissed me off. They were blocking.
How could
that
you not?
game because I don't have any NFL Sunday ticket. But
I have Red Zone, and Red Zone had it on for like an hour. Like it was like the only game on at one point because it was just so close.
Fox had a bonus cover for the game too.
Yeah. I think my takeaways are I feel like there's a lot of people really concerned about the Bills. I think this is unfortunately what the Bills do every year. They have this like random midseason lull where Josh Allen just like decides that he loves throwing interceptions. So I'm not completely worried about it. I would say this week would be another really big test for them. So if, they don't play very well against the Browns. They're really out of that AFC East running based on the fact that the Dolphins are flying high and the Jets are playing out of their mind too. So I'm excited to see it. I'm not sold on the Vikings. This Sunday will truly sell me on the Vikings. They just have to get rid of one random Kirk Cousins moment each game, and then they're a really good team.
I think so. I don't know. In general, I think late season success in the NFL can be highly impacted by your injuries. And so, like right now, Buffalo's a little banged up. Philly's caught a few injuries. And so I think that kind of opens the door for, if Minnesota stays healthy, to potentially be a 1 seed in the NFC.
Bills have nothing to worry about. I really don't think everyone says, oh, NFC East is the best division. No, the AFC East is the best division. Everyone's over 500. So I really think Bills will be fine. They're going to make the playoffs, and it really does not matter where Josh Allen plays. And to be honest, hey, look at they just moved the dang game this week for Buffalo to Detroit because of the snow. So I think Bills are fine, but I loved Dalvin Cook in this game. Dalvin Cook finally showed up. That Justin Jefferson catch, that takes the number one spot away from OBJ catch. And I would put David Tyree in there as well. It was a New York Giants free-for-all up there, but now it's Minnesota Vikings is the best catch. And coming from a team that used to have Randy Moss. So, yeah. I think Bills will be fine, though. Minnesota, Packers, well, we'll probably get to that, but Packers lose again. You have, unless you play Packers will always lose unless they play the Cowboys. So, which I am always a fan of. But yeah, no, Kirk Cousins, as long as you play him at 1:00, you're fine.
Feels fair. Anyone else got any takeaways on this game?
Yeah, TJ Hawkinson. That's my take out of this game. Really opens up the offense for Minnesota. We talked about it at the trade deadline special. Really great move for Minnesota to go out and get TJ Hawkinson, that reliable tight end threat out there for Kirk. It opens up not just the passing game, but the running game has been opened up with Dalvin the past 2 weeks, with him being in there, being blocking. Game of the year easily. Justin Jefferson, greatest catch ever. Bills will be fine. And one key thing to look out for this week is they're not sure if they moved the game to Detroit, but now they're not even sure if the game's going to get played at all. Buffalo actually cannot fly out of Detroit because the weather's so bad right now. So we'll see what the NFL does this week if they push the game back. Could we have Tuesday night football?
Flex it to Tuesday.
Could we have Tuesday night football back this year, like the
football.
COVID year? We could. We'll see what the NFL does and see how that impacts that game as well.
Hey, doubleheader in Detroit for Buffalo. Just do it in the same day. It's Thanksgiving, doubleheader. Let's do it. God help them. I would never want to be in Detroit for Thanksgiving, but that's a tradition.
So on to this one. I think this one will be more interesting. Saturday is a Sunday guy. He gets his first win with the Indianapolis Colts and a 25-20 win over the Las Vegas Bum Raiders. Sorry, Las Vegas, you're trash. Just admit it. You just want that third pick you got right now. My big takeaway from the game is I think Parks Frazier has opened this offense up a little bit more. I was excited to see how Matt Ryan played out of structure. Played really good. Had a really good rating that game. I'm excited to see it next week. We got Jonathan Taylor back into the mix. He hit the ground running a little bit. I think this week against Philly, I just want to see. I don't think we're going to beat Philly, but you never know with what's happened.
Colts don't have no single chance against Philly this week. They just signed Sue. I'm sorry. No.
I think they just need to keep the game close. You know, if they lose like 28-14, I would be unhappy. I'm still not sold on the defense. Still want to see some more from that and Gus Bradley, but good win for them, and glad for Jeff Saturday not to be a losing NFL coach.
Yeah,
Not
I was
yet.
glad to see Matt Ryan starting. I never thought that he should have been benched, but they played well under adversity this week. But going into this game, they got a whole new beast, the Eagles, but they are coming off a loss. So I think if the defense turns up, it could be closer than people think. But yeah.
I think you got to see who they played. All right. They played the stinking Raiders. All right. By the way, I forget the guy's name, but who was their interim head coach last year for the Raiders? I'm still pissed off about that.
Rich Bisaccia. Yeah.
Yes, Rich.
That was the dumbest thing the Davis family has ever done, and that's saying something. All right.
Well, dumbest head coach football move they've done, maybe. Let's say that. Have you seen his haircut?
Yeah, there's still some other guys I'm putting on that list, unfortunately, still.
So, but you got to remember, it's the Colts now. You get to play the Eagles. Who do the Colts play after the Eagles? They're on the
Monday night.
Patriots, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
There goes 0-2. There's your losing.
Steelers, Cowboys, Vikings, Chargers, Giants.
Okay, so they play the Steelers.
Texans
after that.
too.
Or,
Texans.
You mean
too.
Patriots or Steelers next week or the week after?
Steelers.
Steelers.
So
okay, they might win that game. So
go Steelers, Cowboys, Vikings,
Okay.
Chargers, Giants, Texans.
they're actually starting to look like maybe they can actually do a playoff game, and Alex's cringiness goes in his head to watch them in the playoffs. But man, I don't know. You just got to put it for what it's worth. You guys, the Colts beat the Raiders. You cannot put that in as, oh yeah, that's a great win. No, that's a win you're supposed to get. Even with the coach turmoil. I hope the Texans would beat the Raiders right now.
We can celebrate good things. Got to win. It's a good thing. Let's
I'm a Rams fan, man. I'm in depression right now.
Yeah,
We'll get to that.
We'll get around to that one. I did have the pack is back, but unfortunately last night they did lose again. So I cannot write that headline of the pack is back after beating the Cowboys in a 3-point game on Sunday and then taking a massive Tennessee L. I just want this to be noted. I'm putting this out here. I'm sipping the Tennessee Kool-Aid. Time of possession team, baby. We don't got it. We don't have to win. We don't have to score. We'll just kill that clock. Just keep that clock running. I think Tennessee's going to be a really good playoff team this year, so long as everything stays healthy. Their offense and defense stay good. That Chiefs game last week was or 2 weeks ago, I want to say, right? What was it last week? I don't know. I'm off on the week. 2 weeks ago. Great game. They played really hard. They're a decent team. I like them in the playoffs. They're going to get a home game, I think, just based on the fact of where they are. But now we're on to the Fins are flying. The Dolphins won 39-17 against the Cleveland Browns last Sunday. Where are we at with the Dolphins?
If you're in fantasy football, get some Dolphins. They put up some points in Miami.
Jeff Wilson Jr., baby. Jeff Wilson Jr. No one picked him. That was the greatest. Like you said, I think you were the one to say it, Alex. That was the best trade, one of the best trades at the trading deadline.
Well, he opened up a lot, and he opened up that Browns defense last weekend for quite a few. I think it was 150 with a tutty or two.
19.
Yeah, 119. Yeah, he played really good. Tua looks really good. I wouldn't be unhappy if they win the AFC East. I'd actually be pretty glad. You know, we see this team get into the playoffs. I'd be concerned with their history of the playoffs. They haven't been in the playoffs in a long time, but I'd be excited to see the Dolphins there.
I kind of agree. I think the Dolphins are actually, because no one believes in the Jets until we see it. All right. No one's going to believe in the Jets until we actually they actually clinch the division if they do that, or even if they make the playoffs, God knows. But Dolphins, I think, shout out to my 8th grade teacher, Mr. Morford. You have been in there for so long, for 20 years as a Dolphins fan. I think you will finally get a division championship. I think, like, how long has it been? I don't know how long it's been, but at least not since I've been following sports, and I've been following sports for almost 15 years. So yeah. Dolphins, Tyreek Hill. If you have 2 in there, the 2 of Magic. I don't know if Fitzpatrick must have just left out a little magic right before he left, and Tua just ate it all up. So, man, is that Tyreek Hill signing looking? Man, just give him the money, blank check, whatever. He's the Shohei Ohtani of football right now, man. Freak of nature.
Anybody else got anything on that game?
Yeah, you said Jeff Wilson was the best trade. They even made a better trade on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, Bradley Chubb.
They had no pressure at all, really. Jalen Phillips was all right at getting pressure, but really low rate of pressure. Bradley Chubb comes over. You see what he did last week. They caused a lot of pressure on Cleveland. But it is Cleveland, but more pressure than any other week of the season. The Dolphins are going to be a dangerous team. Tua didn't miss those 3 games. I'd really be saying that he's a front runner, second behind Mahomes for MVP. I still think he deserves some votes for MVP as well, but Patrick Mahomes has that right now, I think. But if Tua keeps playing like he is, he's definitely got to get some consideration.
All right.
He won't win it, but he'll get consideration.
I don't know. MVP conversation is always a tough one for me. We're on to the next one. Tom wrote back in the Deutschland with a 21-16 win against the Seattle Seahawks. I don't think there's many takeaways from this game other than the NFC South is going to be like a last week matchup kind of deal, like a last divisional game for everybody. We'll figure out who's going to win. So
I think there's actually more to take away from that. I think the Tampa Bay defense, after that talk, I believe I think was it a Tom Brady led meeting or whatever they had, said if you're not gonna try or don't show up or whatever the one was, but that defense finally showed up. The key to stopping Seattle is Kenneth Walker. If you can stop Kenneth Walker, Geno Smith has to do everything. Okay. And then right now you have Lockett and DK Metcalf. So then that's pretty much it on the wide receiving core, but that is a lot, but still I'd rather have Geno Smith beat me than Kenneth Walker right now. Crazy to think that you would rather have when you don't want Kenneth Walker, who's going to be winning the Rookie of the Year, I think. So
my takeaway from this is you got it. Keep going. You got it, Mark?
No, you got it.
All right. My Buccaneers takeaway is Rashad White season. Was that yours, Rishi? Was that yours?
No, I said it like a couple weeks ago, and I tried to trade for him in fantasy, and whoever has him wouldn't give him to me, and now I can't trade for him because he's good.
He's been on my team since week 1. I'm holding him till the end.
I know. I want it.
But definitely opened up the ground game. Fournette's still going to he got some carries, but he did injure his hip late in that game. So Rashad White took majority of the carries, over 100 yards as our first 100-yard rusher. And I don't even know, maybe since week 1 or 2, I think Fournette had 1, maybe not at all. But that definitely opens up a lot for Tom Brady because they still got weapons. Julio's healthy. Obviously, you got Godwin and Mike Evans. Buccaneers are going to be fine. The division's so bad that they're going to win. They're going to get a home playoff game. So that's my takeaway from this.
So I'm saying Tampa's going to pull away in this division, and it's for an out-of-the-box reason. So Tom Brady's got a lot of money tied up in crypto. There's some crypto stuff going on. He might have
FTX
just lost.
is in the mud. Is in the mud.
He
There's
might
the
be
reason
losing
why
a
the
lot of money.
Warriors are stinking up the town right now. Even though Steph
And
Curry's actually
so-
doing great, but
The great Marvin Hagler once said, "It's tough to get out of bed to do road work at 5 a.m. when you're sleeping in silk pajamas." Well, if Tom Brady just lost all that money, he might be having to go to cotton pajamas, not silk pajamas. And so I think he's going to step up his level of play. Tampa's going to pull away in that division.
which means to win
Shout
2
out.
games in a row. That's pulling away in that division, so it's not a pretty high bar.
Fair.
Noah, you got anything?
I don't know. I slept through this game because I just quite frankly didn't really care about the outcome. But I don't think the Seahawks should panic. I still like them. Geno Smith has showed up this year, and he's probably my favorite player this year to watch. So I still think
I
the
still like
Seahawks
them in a
win the
wild
West.
card spot. They're still a good wild card spot team.
Yeah, they could still win the West, or even if they end up slipping, end up in the playoffs. So yeah, that's about all I got.
Alrighty, well, to circle back on the NFC West, the Rams unfortunately cannot seemingly catch a break this season. They did take a 27-17 loss in a John Wolford versus Colt McCoy game, and unfortunately sustained a Cooper Kupp significant injury in the second half of the game, fourth quarter. That is unfortunately going to sideline him for possibly the rest of the season. I've seen 4 to 8 weeks. He is going to have some kind of surgery with this high ankle sprain. I think my question here is it buy or sell time for the Rams? Is it sell and try and get those picks back you lost, or is it continue on and hope things break your way?
I mean, nothing to sell mid-season. No trade deadline or anything. Or I mean, no trades at this point. But I do think.
I mean, I'm
Green
talking
Bay-
next season though. Looking at it, like you're looking back at this season, and you're like, well, we were not good, so let's just clean house and try and get some picks back.
If I were them, I'd retool rather than rebuild. But I do think this week that the Rams and Packers both kind of got eliminated from the playoffs a little bit.
Yeah, I don't think the Rams can really rebuild considering they have no picks for the next 15 years or whatever. So
There are people
We're gonna
though
have to
that
figure
would be
something
worth
out.
first round picks getting rid of. I that is my conversation with this is there are a few people, and I'm not going to name names, who have not played as good as I think they should be playing. That could be a sell point at the end of this season.
Yeah.
Just say it, Allen Robinson. Just say it.
No, I'm talking about Jalen Ramsey.
Okay. Well,
That's the
Allen
only,
Robinson.
that's the only player of value, I think. You could see Aaron Donald retire at the end of this season. He was questioning it last year. After this rough year, you could very well see it.
If you, the problem is, if you sell as the Rams, you lose Sean McVay. You will lose Sean McVay. That is the talk that he will retire if they get rid of Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey, and all of them. He will retire, and he'll go to the booth and watch them lose for the next freaking 10 years. Okay, there is no, you gotta ride this train. We're a little bit better than the Lakers in this regard, having at least we draft well, and we have more. Obviously, NFL has more draft picks, but we draft very well in the late rounds and some undrafted guys. So I think there still is a chance. You still got Stafford. Just got to give him freaking receivers, man. Got him get an offensive line and receivers. They don't even need a running back. We saw that last year. We don't need a stinking running back.
It's
I mean,
over
I'm
for
in
him this
agree-
season.
I want to agree on this, but I just think you've seen this experiment go from this end of the spectrum to this end of the spectrum. This end of the spectrum is this one is Super Bowl. This one is, I think they're last in the NFC West now. I think they're dead last after a Cardinals win. They might be tied.
No, they're Cardinals are a half game back. They're 3-7. I think Rams are 3-6. if I remember correctly.
So you've completely typified the scale has completely typified in the other way. So if I'm the GM, I'm worried about my job next year. So I'm probably moving a few people to keep myself in a job. And
I think they'll give them a little leeway. LA is given GMs, it seems like, a lot of leeway. Lakers, too much leeway. But the Rams, I think, because you turn that around with the Jeff Fisher days, and then you get right into the brand new stadium, and they were solid the first year. Didn't with Jared Goff, by the way, and got Matthew Stafford, and then won the Super Bowl. So we got plenty of running backs also. Yes, I just said you don't need any running backs, but still offensive line. Losing Andrew Whitworth was the salvo, and then Noteboom's out for the rest of the year. You have no left tackle. So we're just beat up, and now you have no Cooper Kupp, and relying on, where do even John Wolford even go to school?
John Wolford went to, oh my gosh, it's off the grid. That's what I'm trying to think.
St. Cloud, I don't know. Something like NAIA school, I don't know. Like,
he went to, oh no, he went to where'd he go? Oh, he went to Wake Forest.
Oh, so okay. But you would think maybe he's just scared they actually have a defense now. So they're used to not using having a defense. So whatever.
Anybody got anything else on the Rams?
This is my
All I gotta say is that they are last in the West.
Then definitely put the horse head over my face. Yeah.
All righty, so we're on to another NFC West team. The 49ers continue their roll with a win against the Chargers in a very weird Sunday Night Football game. It just felt like I thought the Chargers were going to come out and absolutely beat the brakes off them, and then the first quarter ended, and the 49ers killed them. So not much to take away anymore other than fire Joe Lombardi from the Chargers, because I don't know if he knows how to call offense.
Fire their head coach. God.
No, do not fire Brandon Staley.
No, seriously, you have that. Okay, first of all, what are they ranked in defense right now?
Their defense, their problem is the problem is not Brandon Staley. The problem is the fact that defense is so banged up, and the fact that he hasn't technically had the full year. He hasn't had J.C. Jackson in the building at all, and if he did, it was like 3 games.
I'm just saying the one right now they can do, unlike the Raiders. Guess who's on the chopping block? The head coach. They're not getting Justin Herbert. Okay, the wide receiving core has been a mess, but with injuries. But thank you, Palmer, by the way, for my fantasy team. But still, without Keenan Allen, obviously, or Keegan Allen, sorry, I'm thinking something. But it's just, when you have Mac on that defense, you gotta have a better record, man. I'm sorry. It's like he did better in Chicago. So
No, yeah. Chargers are a sad story. A lot of injuries. Head coach won't get fired though.
No, they fired Brandon Staley, and I'm pretty sure that they would have no fans. I am looking at defensive DVOA right now. I would like to see what this is at. Defensive DVOA this season. Here are the Chargers. The Chargers are currently ranked 24th. They don't, or no, the Chargers are ranked 20th. Teams below them: Miami, Kansas City, Giants, Atlanta, Cleveland, Las Vegas. So they're about middle. They're about slap in the middle.
But what do those teams behind them have as a head coach? An offensive head coach, Andy Reid. You have what is the guy? Gosh, I cannot remember names today. He was the Giants coach. What is his God?
Brian Dable.
Yes, thank you. He's the. By the way, that's the reason why Josh Allen's struggling now. But I think he was the quarterback whisperer for Josh Allen. But yeah, it's just I'm a Rams fan, but I've always kind of liked the Chargers because they were the only team in near LA for a while. So it's not like New York Giants, New York Jets in LA. So
All righty. And then on to the Monday Night Football game. The undefeated Eagles did take an L at the hands of the Washington Commanders, 32-21. I don't think there's much to say about this game other than the Eagles are just banged up a little bit. And, I think the Eagles need to lose a game like this to truly be the best team in the NFC. So
how's AJ Brown, by the way? Is he playing this week? Because he was questionable.
I think he'll play.
I'm praying to God just for my fantasy team. Man, Justin Fields can only hold me for so far. Whoever traded with me for Chris Godwin for Justin Fields, thank you. I forget who, but
That was Rylan. But yeah, there's not much to take away. Eagles were not going to go undefeated, especially getting banged up on the defensive side of the football right now. They're still probably the best team in the NFC, even though the one loss, they'll be all right.
You got to look at who's going to beat them. Like seriously, who the only threat I see in the NFC right now is the Vikings for the Eagles. And I'm pretty sure Eagles beat the Vikings week 1, didn't they? So,
yes.
And it'll be a primetime game in the playoffs, and that's when Kirk Cousins just hide behind his blanket and goes away. So hand it off to Dalvin Cook, by the way.
Rishi, you still in on the Eagles?
You're on mute, Rishi.
Yo, yeah. I still think they got to be the favorite to come out of the NFC, but actually, like out of all the teams that'll be in the playoffs, like I don't give the Vikings the best chance to beat them. Like I think the Giants, Cowboys, 49ers, maybe the Seahawks. Like I think those will be interesting games later in the season.
Feels fair. All righty. So we're on past that. We're going to go into some college basketball. This week, we got true tests in college basketball. I'll recap a few. Michigan State took a double overtime W against Kentucky, 86-77. Kansas beat Duke 69-64, and Texas blew out Gonzaga at home, 93-74. Some of the top games to be played today. We see Baylor versus Virginia, 5 versus 16. Kentucky plays Gonzaga, both top 5 teams. I both have a loss this season. Creighton lines up against Texas Tech, and then Alabama plays Michigan State next week. Any big takeaways this week from college basketball? It's early. I know there's definitely going to be some Kentucky ones in here, but I think there's a lot of good teams, and I'll be interested to see where some of these teams pan out after about 10 games.
I think Gonzaga, you cannot look at that game. I'm sorry. First of all, you play Michigan State on an aircraft carrier, get just very close game with Michigan State, who's going to be probably ranked this coming up soon.
Better be top 15 too. They
should be.
Yeah,
easily. They should be ranked after the Gonzaga game.
Yeah, so you cannot look at that Texas game. Texas looks awesome, but you cannot look at that game. Kansas Duke, you can't look at that either because of the whole coaching situation in Kansas, and Duke obviously doesn't have Coach K, and they're still getting used to without him. One of the best games I saw was watching that double overtime Michigan State Kentucky game. No, I forget who's the Kentucky big guy that fouled out.
Oscar Tshiebwe.
Yeah, as soon as he fouled out, game was over. It was just a matter of time. By the way,
yeah, actually,
love that play that they did the out of bounds play on. That was beautiful. I've never seen that in my life.
Tom Izzo, brilliance right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, shout out Joey Hauser's cardio because he played like 40 plus minutes that game.
Yeah, so for me, obviously, like Alex said, it's still early on in the season. And that I want to go to the Texas Gonzaga game. There's no fault in Gonzaga for losing to this Texas team at Texas. This Texas team is really good. When later on in the season, I might be considering them depending on where they're at in the tournament lined up to go far. Bringing in Tyrese Hunter from Iowa State is absolutely huge for this team. Last year, they had expectations a little bit high, I think, for Marcus Carr coming over from Minnesota, and he really did not perform too well. Now you get him a great teammate guard that can absolutely score and pass the ball. Tyrese Hunter had 26 in this game. Marcus Carr, 16 and 7. They look really nice. Cutting him off the bench provided good minutes. And the freshman Dylan Mitchell is going to get more implemented into this offense as well. The Big 12 could be interesting. My game to watch tonight is that Virginia-Baylor game. I really like both teams. Baylor, I think they're going to fly under the radar just a little bit this year because they don't really have those big-time names anymore. Flagler is really good, but they have a key guy. If you go on and look at their stats and the stat leaders, he doesn't lead in any stat, but they have a freshman of the year candidate in Keontae George, who's averaging 16, 6, and 7 right now on great shooting splits. Baylor, they're going to bring the defense and the full court press. They're going to be really good. And then another good game tonight is Illinois UCLA. UCLA, another team. You lose Johnny Juzang, but you have 4 guys returning that are going to be key contributors, and the real position of need for them is to see how the big guy plays out.
Yeah, I still really like UCLA. Still have Tiger Campbell and Jaquez. They've picked up a few new guys as well. So, and I also hate Illinois, so I'd love to see them lose.
I'm going to circle back to that Kentucky-Michigan State game. As a Kentucky fan, it was brutal to watch in person. Probably could have been ejected from the stadium if they could have heard some of the things I said. It was just a tough game to watch. It's a young team, a lot of moving pieces. Cason Wallace played so great on the defensive end and gives up 6 turnovers in the span of 10 minutes. It's just tough to see. Oscar played great, double-double. Really excited to see what he can do this year. I'm really excited to see him against Gonzaga. I want to see him against Drew Timme. That's my biggest, I think that's my measuring tape game for Kentucky. Really want to see the shooters click. We haven't really seen it. Kentucky was terrible from 3 to start the game. Kind of picked it up. But I kind of circle back this Gonzaga-Texas game. I think this is actually probably one of the biggest things we've seen in college basketball in the opening few games in the past few years. Texas proving to Gonzaga that, Gonzaga is not all that great. They're a good team. They're built well. But when they actually play true competition at their true skill level, they can lose. So I think this is one of those games we're going to circle back to right before the tournament and be like, hey, Texas got an early gritty win against Gonzaga. They played well. I'm usually a horns down kind of guy, but this Texas team just looks so good that I just think they're going to have to win out the Big 12. It'll be a tough between them and Baylor, and, Texas Tech is always tough, but I'm excited. All righty. So Matt, you had it. He's out. All right. So Matt just headed out. He did let me know that his hot take is Mississippi State beats Ole Miss on Thanksgiving. So we'll add that one.
Anybody have anything else to add for the men's side? I want to talk about the women's side of college basketball for just a minute here.
Let's hear it.
All right. So on the women's side here, not a lot of people talk about the women's side of college basketball. I personally like to watch women's college basketball, especially the top teams in the nation. So we've had some interesting matchups throughout this week. On Monday, IU went into number 11 Tennessee and did get a nice 12-point victory. IU is looking very good to start the year. They had a 35-point win last night against Bowling Green, which is a very, very good Bowling Green team. They're one of the top mid-major teams in scoring. They put up over 100 points in 2 of their 3 games this year. They can score the ball very well. They could be an interesting tournament team. And then there was a big loss last night. Iowa played at Kansas State, number 4 ranked Iowa, and Caitlin Clark goes down
Iowa
to
lost?
Kansas State. Yes, Kansas State beat Iowa last night. Caitlin Clark had a very good game, but Kansas State is very good. Kansas State is a very good team. I think they deserve to be in the ranking conversation. And then you got games coming up this weekend. I really look at the Sunday slate and I like to watch football, but man, there's some good college basketball on this week. I'm going to have to tune into a lot of this. At 1:00, you have NC State going into UConn. UConn, obviously, Gina Orium, historic program. We'll see where they're at, competing against another top team. IU plays Sunday as well against another top mid-major in Quinnipiac. Quinnipiac actually was beating IU for 3 quarters last year, and IU took over in the 4th and won. And then the biggest game of the season in women's college basketball is at 3:00 on ABC. I recommend tuning in to South Carolina versus Stanford, number 1 and number 2 in the nation. This is a really big test. These teams, obviously, very high chance they see each other in the Final Four or the national championship later. So this is a big game to see how they stack up against each other.
I'm excited for that game, mainly because the Fever just got the number 1 pick, and hopefully Aaliyah Boston comes to Indianapolis. So I want to see how she plays.
She should play well. She got a good matchup this week. Cameron Brink on the Stanford side. Cameron Brink will stretch out Aaliyah Boston, so she wouldn't be in the paint as much. We all know South Carolina is big. They're physical. They like to get the ball in the paint. Stanford can really spread you out. Haley Jones is a 6'4" forward playing point guard. She's going to be most likely the number 2 pick in the WNBA draft behind Aaliyah Boston. So this game is going to be really interesting to watch, and I'm excited for it.
All righty. Rishi, we got a lot to talk about in the UFC, man. Good Lord, what happened last weekend. So I'm just going to recap a few of these big matches. Adesanya loses to Pereira. So Pereira is the new champion of what's the weight class?
Middleweight, 185 pounds.
Esparza loses to Wei Lee. That is featherweight, right?
It's flyweight, I believe.
Flyweight, and then Poirier submits Chandler. Shout out to Luke Schuster hitting an absolute nasty little hot take of Poirier submits Chandler, and then TCU beats Texas. And then we had 10. So we had 10 submissions, knockouts, or technical knockouts. I believe that is the most ever in a UFC card by a lot.
MSG just hits different, man. Like every fight. So if you're not a big fight person, basically an MMA fight, either you can essentially choke a guy out, knock him out, or it can go to a decision. And none of these fights were going to decision. The energy in Madison Square Garden is just different. It was an awesome card. But
all right, I was excited. It was a lot of fun to watch.
Those top 3 fights, man, you just got to go back and watch them if you didn't watch. Poirier Chandler fight. Chandler, I must have said it last week, but I was calling him the most exciting fighter in the UFC. Still true. Just crazy.
Dude, that thing was a bloodbath too. Chandler is bleeding for 90% of the fight.
Yeah, you should look at the difference, him going into round 1 versus round 3. It's pretty interesting. And then Wei Lee beating Carla Esparza. Carla put up a great fight, a very entertaining fight. we were talking about how boring her last fight was, but this fight was very entertaining. And
no, I got what you meant by you said that she was boring, because it was boring for about the first round. I was like, are they they were like just running around in circles for about 20 minutes. And I was like, all right, come on, let's go.
But no, Whaley might be starting a new dynasty in that division. She looked amazing in that fight. And then obviously that last fight, that main event, it was watching as a guy who generally roots for Israel Adesanya. It was like 25 minutes of just pure, like, man, there is a huge threat just at all times. And when I was saying Pereira literally throws like he has stones in his hands, it doesn't make sense. The man it's shocking that he makes 185 pounds, because he's a giant. He's a new champion, and that rematch is going to be a great fight to watch.
It was a good UFC. I'm excited. We have a big one coming up anytime soon. Any other championships?
There's a card in December. So the top two names, maybe everyone doesn't know them. It's Yuri Prohashka and Glover Teixeira. They're having a rematch for the title fight.
Oh,
the UFC will release their last fight on YouTube if it's not already there, because it was that great of a fight, and it's just watch that fight. I won't even tell you who won if you don't know, and after watching that, you'll know that you got to tune into the December card, because that fight's going to be awesome.
This December card's insane.
Yeah.
Jan versus Magmadev. We talked about Jan last year. Jan's nasty.
Yes.
Patty's on the card. Lawler. I mean, this is a good card. I'd be excited to see this card.
It's a very good card. Yeah, there are a lot of great fights. And it'll be tough to live up to this 281, but that'll be a great fight. Or that'll be a great card.
It'll be close. So we're gonna review our hot takes, and we're gonna give some. So Luke made it to 1-1 last week with Poirier submits Chandler and TCU beats Texas. Rishi, you're unfortunately the only one on the show who is 0, other than Noah, but Noah's debut, we're not going to give him anything. Rishi had all four city kickboxing fighters win in 281, and then Texas over TCU and UNC to make the CFP. Unfortunately, I had probably... It was close. There were some that were really close, but Molly McCann did not knock out Blanchfield. The Green Bay did beat the Cowboys, though. I was happy about that. Alabama was close to having 3 losses, but did not come close. Dallas had Carla gets knocked out in the first 2 minutes. Unfortunately, that did not happen. And the Michigan State beats Gonzaga, only off by 2 points. And then Matthew had TCU will go into Austin and beat Texas. He is now up to 2-1. Dallas is at 2.5-7, and I'm at 2-8. So we're on to this week's takes. We already got Matt's. He had Mississippi State beating Ole Miss on Thanksgiving. Rishi, Dallas, Noah. I think we should let the newbie throw it off.
Yeah.
Not newbie, but debut this year.
So for my debut this year, I've got 3. I've got 1 World Cup, I've got 1 NFL, and I've got 1 NCAA basketball. So I'll start with my NFL. This is probably just straight homer pick, but I don't even care. I got the Colts beating the Eagles this week in Indianapolis, especially with the Eagles coming off their loss. I think they might have. I wouldn't say they've got exposed, but I think Jeff Saturday knows a little bit more about what he's working with going into this week. So that could be something we see. I've got, since we might not have a show next week, I'll just put this one out there. I've got Creighton to win the Maui Invitational over Arizona and Arkansas, among others. I think their first game is against Texas Tech.
Yes, I had that as one of the games I highlighted this week, because that is going to
be a good game.
I think if they win that, they'll end up playing Arkansas. I love Arkansas too, but Creighton is probably like the most experienced team in the Maui Invitational, and they've got a couple transfers as well. So I think they're going to go in and win that. And then my World Cup prediction, I've already kind of touched on this, but I got Qatar to make the round of 16. I just think some crazy stuff's going to happen, and it might come out later in the tournament that they accepted some or they gave out some bribes and stuff, but we won't know until the end. So I think Qatar's gonna do something to get to the round of 16.
All right. Well, I usually close off, but I'm going to go. I am laying down the parlay to beat all parlays, gentlemen. I have my Kentucky Wildcats. I'm leaning on them once again this season. We are going to go with a dub against Georgia. And then I have on Sunday or on Thursday, while we're all at home hanging out, having a nice Thanksgiving, there's going to be some more madness in the NFL. The Lions are going to jump the Bills. I'm just saying it. I think the Bills are looking a little soft, maybe some arm problems with Josh Allen. And then Japan, they're going to get a dub against Germany. I think they beat Germany 2-0 first game. It's going to be a madness. Germany will still make the group somehow, but Japan wants to cause some mayhem. So I'm excited to see that. Rishi, Dallas, who wants to take it away now?
Dallas, you got one on deck?
Yeah, I can go. Okay. So I looking around for hot takes. I want to go super big this week, so we're gonna pick 3 NCAA basketball games. This probably has a 0% chance of hitting, but we'll try it anyway. On Monday night, we have a nice little interesting game for Duke. They playing at home against Bellarmine. I will take Bellarmine to upset Duke in this particular spot. I think Duke, a lot of questions here. Lively's coming in. I think this could be the first game with Tariq Whitehead. They can see how he plays out. But Bellarmine's no joke. They move the ball well, really do not dribble a whole lot. So I really like Bellarmine. And last year they won their tournament, but could not get into the tournament because their first year being in D1. So I will take that. My second game here, we're going to go to the Battle for Atlantis tournament, and I am taking Butler to beat Tennessee in the first round. Tennessee, a lot of question marks with Tennessee. They're ranked 22nd right now. I really don't know if
state.
I don't know if they should be a ranked team. Butler, it's been okay to start the year. Butler, I know the coach is going to have them ready to go in this Battle for Atlantis tournament. And I'm also sticking with another game Wednesday night. This isn't in a tournament, but I really like UCLA, but I think Pepperdine beats UCLA Wednesday night because Pepperdine is a really good team. You could very well see them competing with the likes of St. Mary's, San Francisco, and Gonzaga to win that. I think that Pepperdine is going to get in the tournament. You could see 4 teams in there getting into the NCAA tournament in the WCC. I can say I'll put that down right now. 4 teams from the WCC are going to make the NCAA tournament. That's going to be Gonzaga, Pepperdine, San Francisco, and St. Mary's.
I like that. I got a couple. First one, college football.
Oh, you got to give me like 10 seconds. I'm still writing because I got to write all these teams.
All right.
You said St. Mary's, San Fran, and then Gonzaga. Okay, Rishi, you're good to go now.
All right. So college football, a lot of pretty good games this weekend. Like some people, what are some big games?
Sipping the Kool-Aid? Sipping the Kool-Aid?
I'm sipping some Kool-Aid, but it might not be the Kool-Aid you're thinking about. I think a game that's going under the radar is Ohio State, Maryland. And pretty soon it'll be on your radars when Maryland knocks Ohio State off. And my second hot take, inspired by Noah for picking a Maui Invitational winner. I couldn't commit to them as the winner, but I'll commit to them making it to the finals. I'm taking Ohio State. I think Big Ten basketball has looked really – all the Big Ten basketball I've watched this year has been pretty good outside of that Michigan game last night. We don't got to talk about that, though. And I'll give a third hot take. My third hot take is that I'm getting my first 2 hot take wins this week. I'm going 2-0. That's my third hot take.
You mean 1-0, right? You get your first win?
I'm getting the football one and the basketball one. I'm getting both. by next show.
All right. Well, this has been a great show, guys. We're excited. We're going to have a lot to talk about. Like I said, we may have a show the day after Thanksgiving. It's kind of dependent on the availability. We'll see what happens, but it's great having you guys on. Always glad, and I'll see you guys soon. Have a nice